What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, One Man's Walk. I am your host, Gamal, back at you with another one. So what do we have for you today? Well, Rick Hyde put out a new project. Rick Hyde, affiliate of BSF, Black Soprano Family, affiliate of Griselda by way of Benny the Butcher. I do believe he's Benny the Butcher's artist. And so he has a new project. It's called Stima, not quite sure how you pronounce it, but I'm excited to go ahead and get into it on the channel. So let's get to it right after this intro.
Clean your house music. You can clean too.
Welcome back. So like I stated, we're here to get into this new Rick Hyde project. I have listened to Rick Hyde's albums prior. I played Plates 1, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but this is my first time reviewing it on the channel, so I am excited to do that. Again, like I stated, part of BSF, the Black Soprano Family, him and Heem, I'm familiar with, and then I do believe that he's Benny's artist. He does show up a lot with Benny, right? And so you may see him in videos with Conway as well as West, but typically it's going to be with Benny. And so excited to get into this project on the channel. But before we do that, as always, you know we got to get the housekeeping out the way. If you guys have not already done so, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post bell notifications so that way you don't miss any of this amazing content. As you can see behind me, the latest video was up. That would be the LeBron Arnold Palmers, the 9, the lows. Shout out to that. So that's up right now. You can see the fits right behind me, trying to show you guys how I would put it together or different things I could do. So feel free to check that out. Also, 8Ball and MJG versus UGK versus is up. So feel free to check that out. Obviously, we got a ton of different things on the channel, whether music, whether sneakers. I think you guys will enjoy. If you guys are enjoying the content, please share. So let's get to it. Let's get right into this album. You guys know how I feel. The intro sets the tone. The intro lets us know what the CD's about. I was really shocked. I saw the title of it. It's called Who Am I? But when I saw that he was going to use a Joel Santana sample of the same name, Who Am I, from the Diplomatic Immunity album, which I do plan to sometime at some point this year get that review up for that album. But I thought that that was really fitting. So let's play a little bit of it, shall we? So that part, when it, at that Who Am I, that part where Santana's like, or the sample says, you thought a man should never lie. I was expecting to hear that, but that's not actually on here. So that's the only thing missing from essentially that sample. It kind of really does feel like the same thing. But we could bring it up a little bit. I do like this. I like, one of the things I do want to say I do like with Rick is I do like the energy he brings on records. I also like that I feel like he brings a level of introspection to the records. And I don't know if it's with the passing of his mom. I believe I remember hearing that during Plates 1. But the music he makes, I really feel like you can feel it. You know what I mean? He's very underrated. So let's get a little bit. Let's talk about it.
Growing up, it was so much pain, I couldn't even show it. It's obvious they see it, but won't tell you that they know it. Dollar candles in the stairwell, kitchen full of roaches. Mom's house was a safe haven. Weekends was my vacation. Brother facing.
So he said, growing up, it was so much pain, I couldn't even show it. It's obvious they see it, but won't tell you that they know it. Sometimes people look away. I know New Yorkers, East Coast, have a tendency to see things and then you say, you know what, I want to just mind my business. But here he is. He's like, growing up with so much pain, I couldn't even show it. It's obvious they see it, but won't tell you that they know it. And so for him, he's thinking he's hiding whatever trauma, whatever issues he's going through. But people see it. It's written on his face. I know I have one of those faces out. People always tell me, like, my emotions, you can tell. Like, if we're cool, you know we're cool. My face expression, everything shows it. And when we're not, I feel like my body language, everything gives off that we're not. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really have like an in between or be like, hey, how are you? And I don't really feel it. Like I don't rock like that. And I feel like that's what's going on here. I want to speed it up a little bit though, because it's so much in these bars.
Searching for purchase, but almost wasn't worth it. Now they pay me for the service. If my mama love was present instead of numb, I'll be nervous. I know she seen me getting what I earned, I deserve it. Corporate tried to make me join the union, try to derail us 40 out of once.
So this right here is fire. This Who Am I kind of giving just an introduction to who he is and kind of giving us an introduction to what it's like with Rick Hyde. So I really like that. We're going to skip over that one. Or not skip over it, move on to the next track. So this next one, Why Bother Talking? This is rough. I love this one. This is actually the video, or the single, I guess I should say. There is a video for this actual song that's out right now if you check it out on YouTube. Unfortunately, there is not a clean version, which I really would have preferred there to be. Unfortunately, there isn't. We'll try to do our best. Thankfully, Apple Music provided us the lyrics. So we can kind of play around as far as where stuff are to kind of deep dive a little bit, because I really do enjoy this one right here. The hook is nuts, but again, he's cursing all throughout the hook, so it does make it a little harder.
Ain't no mercy for the weak-minded. Neighborhood watch block party, we had the street jumping. First rule when you in my hood, you better eat something. Video surveillance, imagine you against John Moran. Had to quit that, start rapping, I gotta take a chance. Coast to coast, they know me, my signature make the people chant. Could've been a people versus Ricky, now I'm the people chant. Teddy bears and bottle.
He said, video surveillance, imagine you against John Morant. Had to quit that and start rapping. I had to take a chance. Now, that could be taken a few different ways. One, there is actually, I don't know if you guys noticed it. I remember looking online and seeing a celebrity basketball game. And at the celebrity basketball game, you know, like when the All-Star game happens, it was a celebrity basketball game. And I saw it and I was like, yo, looks like Rick Hyde. But I'm like thinking to myself, like, one, how many people really know Rick Hyde? Like, I know Rick Hyde, right? I'm familiar with the music, but I'm like, how many people really know him, that he be in a celebrity all-star game on ESPN? So I look it up, I Google it, and sure enough, Rick Hyde is out there hooping. Now, I didn't actually see that celebrity all-star game. It's from this past year, I want to say, or last year. But I didn't see it. But when he makes that line, I thought about that, one. And then two, maybe basketball he might have been nice in, right? Now, everybody who plays Celebrity All-Star Game isn't nice, but he might have been nice. But he's like, what if he saw either maybe played against John Morant earlier on or played against a John Morant-like figure and made the determination, as good as I might be, I'm not going to reach that level of good. So I'm going to stop hooping and I'm going to get with this rap thing because I think I have a better shot with that. One, I think that takes incredible self-awareness. So many people lack self-awareness that I thought that overall, I thought there was so many different thoughts that was running through my mind of layers with that. I really do like that line. Now, the other line I really do like could have been the people versus Ricky. Now I'm the people champ. Meaning like the people versus Ricky is what happens when you're in court and you're brought up on charges, and you know, it's you against the state. It's you against whatever. You against the people for whatever the crime is that you've committed. And he's saying for the criminal activity that he was in, he could have had a Ricky versus the people, but instead he's able to not only survive that said lifestyle, but then turn around, parlay it into this rap world that he's in. And based upon his talent, based upon his affiliation, based upon his abilities and things like that, people are calling him the people's champ. So it's a nice little play on words. I do like that. I love this one. This one is nuts. It's just the cursing sometimes, but here we go.
From the dark side of the city, like we in night mode. Take the weight off of your person, like he got light mode. Recognize the car from a distance, now we in fight mode. 47 shots out the Draco, look like a light show.
All right, hold on. I ain't gonna stop it with so many times.
Live by the gun, die by it, that's just how life goes. From the dark side of the city, like we in night mode. Take the weight off of your person, like he got light mode. Recognize the car from a distance, now we in fight mode. 47 shots out the Draco, look like a light show. You see
He said, live by the gun, die by it. That's just how life go. True, I do think there are definitely repercussions, actions and repercussions for said actions, right? And he was like, look, if you live by this, there's a good chance you might die by this. I do believe that to be a true thing. He said he's from the dark side of the city, like we in night mode. Night mode, I just saw a commercial. Tonight's the NBA Finals, and I just saw a commercial with Modern Warfare 2, thinking of the nighttime goggles when they're out there. And he was like, look, we're from the dark side of the city, like we in night mode. And that's what I was thinking about. He says, take the weight off of your person like he got lipo. Obviously, lipo is supposed to be taking fat from your body and removing it to slim you down. And in his case, he's talking about taking the weight, taking what you're holding, taking the drugs, taking the money, whatever the case, but taking the weight, taking what is making you heavy, what is giving you stature, what is supplying you with bulk, so to speak, and saying, we're going to take that off of you like you got lipo. We're going to remove it from your person, from your body. And he says, recognize the car from a distance. Now we in fight mode. That's the equivalent of legitimately just saying it's on site. Like the moment, you know, a lot of people say on site, but they don't really mean on site. They say on site and then they want to talk it out. He's saying, look, the moment we see the car, we recognize the car, we know who's in the car, who's driving the car, we in fight mode. And then he said 47 shots out the Draco look like a light show. And then obviously you get the Griselda noises that you're used to hearing, the ad-lib. That's a crazy line too. And so this is a hard one. This is a hard one. That hook.
Brody in the hands on, is when the kids draw back against the wall. You ain't got nowhere to go. Throw up the peace sign and decorate your street sign. It's hotter on the east side, even when it's cold. Throw up the peace sign and decorate your street sign. It's hotter on the east side, even when it's cold.
That one is super hard. That hook is super hard too. He said, you don't want no smoke. Brody and them hands on. Beef is when the K's drawn back against the wall. You ain't got nowhere to go. I throw up the peace sign and decorate your street sign. It's hotter on the east side, even when it's cold. Meaning like a couple things. Let me bring that back a little bit. He said, you don't want the smoke. Like you say you want problems, but when problems really come, you're not going to want these type of problems. He was like, Brody, it's hot. You don't want these problems. He said, we are hands-on over here. He said, Brody and I'm hands-on, meaning like me and my guys are hands-on. We're not going to be out here just talking about it and somebody else is putting in work. We out here like AWACS and MC8 and Men's Society. We put in our own work. He was like, look, when beef is when them K's drawn back against the wall, you ain't got nowhere to go. Meaning we will back you into a corner, whether figuratively, literally, whatever the case. When beef really hits, we're backing you into a corner. He says, I throw up the peace sign and decorate your street sign. Meaning he's a boss in the sense that if he gives the order, that's when violence can really hit. And the decorate your street sign obviously is blood and bullets, unfortunately. You know, I'm not here supporting the violence. It's just a tough line. He said it's hotter on the east side, even when it's cold. And that's a hard line, too, in the sense that Buffalo is known for being a really cold place. And he's like, look, it's hot over here. You know what I mean? Like, don't be fooled by what you hear or what you see on TV or any of these other things. It's hot over here, even when it's cold. Like, this is not the area for that. But that record is nuts. I really do wish there was a clean version to this, but hey, we deal with what we have. And so right now, this next record, this is going to be Arriverdice, which is another just a fire one.
But assassinate my character, you really get. You ain't never gave a summer you check to your mama to make the ends meet. 17 grams in a blender, I need my hands clean. Saw a lick in my near future because the band's free. She might be walking around with the baby, we need a plan B. You ain't never panic cause you ain't know where the shots from. You ain't never hid you no bundles before the cops come. You ain't never bag up no grizzlies until the box done. Round here it ain't no safety, just like a cop gun. Feeling like the Bulls with the Rosen. We run the East now. Take you out the game like Caruso when he got 3 fouls.
All right, so he was going. I let it go for a little longer. I don't think Rick Hyde is going to get his flag, so I figured we could play it a second. But here, what he said. So there's a couple things. He said, assassinate my character. He said, you're really getting killed. Like, you're not going to disrespect my rep, what I stand for, what I stand on, my integrity, right? The morals that he decides to stand and play by. It's like, you're not going to be out here playing me. But then he gets into something else. See, this is what I mean with an introspection, some of the real things that he says. Take out the gun talk and stuff for a second. He says, you ain't never gave a summer youth check to your mama to make ends meet. Meaning, growing up poor and realizing early, I have to be the man of the house, right? Because my thought is, if he's doing that, and he mentions his mother, he doesn't mention his father, for whatever reason, his father might not be there, for whatever happened to his father, unfortunately. And so as a result, at an early age, if he's at summer youth getting checked, he's not but so old, right? You're thinking as a teenager, he's doing this. And he was like, he's using his summer youth, which should be as a adolescent, as a teenager, your own money to help buy you your Jordans or your LeBrons, to buy you your PlayStation, your Xbox, to buy you your Timbs, your whatever you want to buy, your car, whatever. And he has to use it to help his mother pay rent. That's a humbling thing as a mom, I can only imagine. It's a humbling thing as a son, knowing early what I have to do. And that kind of, even though he doesn't give us so much of that throughout, it kind of gives a glimpse into how you can turn into a life you turn into. Now, again, I don't excuse said behavior, but it gives an understanding and a rationale behind how we got here. You understand? And so when he was like 17 grams in the blender, I need my hands clean. Essentially meaning, you know, the residue that the drugs will give you and stuff like that, trying to keep his hands clean, literally, I guess, by putting whatever in the blender to chop it up. He said, now like this. Now you can take this two ways. He said, she might be walking around with the baby. We need a plan B. Now, obviously, plan B is the next day drug you take to prevent babies from being born and things like that. I'm not here for that. However the baby comes into the world is how the baby comes into the world, no matter how egregious the act is. My thought is always the baby did not actually come into the world. Let the baby live, right? Obviously, people could do what they want, their body, their lives, but that is my thought on that. But the second part to that, which is the version of which I choose to take, because I do tend to look at things with a more optimistic view, is he said, she might be walking around with the baby. We need a plan B, meaning what I'm doing currently may not be enough. And if it's going to be me, her, and the baby now to support, I need to be more of a grown up per se. I need to have more things lined up. I need to be more safe and secure in finances because I have two mouths to feed in addition to my own. That is how I choose to look at it, and hopefully not the opposite way with like the next day drug to prevent pregnancy and stuff. And then he's like, you ain't never panicked because you ain't know where them shots from. I have. Listen here. I try to tell people all the time, 30 minutes is typically not a long time. I dug bullets for 30 minutes one time in Brooklyn at Juve the night before the Labor Day parade. Listen here, man. I said, man, 30 minutes on and off is a long time. You understand? Long time. And he says, you ain't never hid you no bundles before the cops come. He said, you ain't never bag up no grizzlies until the box done, meaning you're on you want it. And he said, round here ain't no safety like a cop gun. Feeling like the Bulls with the Rosen, we run the East now. Obviously, just a shout out. And then the next line is the Caruso line. Take you out the game like Caruso when he got 3 fouls. Both of those are Bulls lines in reference to the fact that DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Caruso, Lonzo, all helped the Bulls look good before the injuries ran all over them and kind of hindered what could have been a promising season for them. So just a nice shout out. It's always nice when you hear rappers being able to relate some of that stuff back with basketball. And again, him, celebrity game, he might have been a baller at one point himself, so maybe a little bit more. But it's a nice bar. But that's a fire record right there. And then, you know, I bring it up a little bit so you can hear that Arriverdice, so you know it. So that's another hard one right there. La Spina is cool. I don't love it. It's only 9 songs on here. I think the whole CD is fire. I want to say that the entire CD is fire. This right here is my record. I do love this one. This is the Benny record. Like this. Benny.
You had a better year than me as a rapper, then you legendary. And I'll excuse that. But anything less, I gotta refuse that. We weed cropping, no dispensary, weed shopping. I'm V-hopping, got the coupe in the Benz, cause I need options. Streets watching, D's plotting, cuffs tightening, keys locking. I want a belt after that time in the bean like I'm B. Hopkins. Clothes clean with them 30s and them jeans.
It look like this. It look like this.
Dope boys with ice on their sleeve, 80 carats worth of VGs. It look like this.
That's a fire record. I'm probably not gonna play all of it. Like that's a fire record. Outside of the last song, Perspective, that Why Bother Talking, and this Like This are my three favorite records on the CD. Three different energies. This energy is probably closest to the Why Bother Talking, but the Why Bother Talking is really just a bunch of really just hardcore grimy lyrics. This Like This, while has the same feel to it, Benny coming on and kind of changed the direction a little bit, and the hook is really catchy. That Like This part is really catchy, and then Perspective is what it is. That beat in the song, that flow, and we will get to that one. It's just really nice. It is a really good CD though. So these next few records all have, I'm not gonna play everyone, but they all have the same kind of vibe and energy to it. None of them are skippers. I'm just saying for the sake of it, kind of is the same, and I'm not gonna be able to like. The lyrics aren't for all of them to be able to break down each one. Right from Like This, we're going to get right into Perspective, which is my favorite song on the CD. This beat is nuts. I love the soulfulness of the beats. Like I'm always the soulful of the beats.
Before you burn, you gotta try. Gotta start before you spar, cause it's good until it's gone. Made myself my first priority, I take care of us all. The first 100 got me out the hole, this next one for my dog.
I love that. I love that. The first 100 got me out the hole, the next one for my dogs. I do like that. Now, I do believe that while you are down, you can help other people as well. But it's always something different when you recognize, like, I'm down. Let me get myself up out the situation and then help get somebody else out the situation. I feel like when you do it that way, it's so much more credible to people because they have a tangible example before them. When you say, look, I've been where you are and I know how to better myself, and then you show them how to do it, they're more likely to believe you and go behind you because they just saw you do it and they know it can be done, as opposed to you being at the same level trying to tell somebody how to do something that you yourself failed at. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, you can still take that advice, and I'll still take advice from anyone in that regard. But I do think it holds more validity, more weight when it comes from an individual who just came out of what you're in, that gives inspiration that you too can get out.
Damn, turned alchemist, DJ L, Harry Fraud. You can't even get a beat from me, that lyric says it all. That's a James Harden step back. This beat was just a death trap. You knew I was gonna kill it, I ain't gonna hold you like a setback. Imagine me digressing, you only put as your next rap. I watched the company I kept, now our company elite. And I just was in the projects, Billy lived across the street. My ebook would take a week, that's why I barely even.
So he says he got beats from Derringer, Alchemist, DJ L, Harry Fraud. You can't even get a beat from him. Because again, some of these beats on the CD, Rick made himself. And him saying, look, you're not good enough to get their beats. You're not good enough to get my beats. That, point blank. And he said that's a James Harden step back. This beat was like a death trap. And so he's just rapping, just giving us some bars. And then he throws in that part where he says, I watched the company I kept. Now my company's elite. And I was just in the projects. Benny lived across the street. Kind of gives an insight to when we're always like, or when I said earlier that I do believe, I see him the most with Benny. This gives us some insight to why. You know what I mean? Because he grew up seeing Benny. He was in close proximity. Benny probably took him under his wing, things like that. But the CD is good. I really do enjoy it. I thought it was fire. I didn't want to hold you with like a super long review or anything like that, but I did want to go over a couple records. Not every record, definitely play every record. I think the whole 9 songs are fire. But for just the sake of this, I just wanted to give a little insight and show a little love to Rick Hyde, because Plates 1 was fire. And I think Rick Hyde is super underrated. And so really good, and one of my favorites out of the BSF Griselda camp. So, yeah, but that's it, man. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day, weekday, weekend, whenever you're listening, however you're listening. I thank you for listening. Till next time. I do want to say, so this is new, but this is the outro. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I thank you guys for sticking out to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stick around for some of the other content that you see up right now. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post bell notifications so that way you don't miss any of this amazing content. Share, share, share.